Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something absolutely mind-bending. The source material we're looking at is titled Two Paths, One Node, all 22 numbered verses in the Quran. But listen, we aren't looking at these verses as a collection of historical stories. No, this analysis decodes a massive, highly precise topological framework. It maps out an intricate mathematical and spiritual circuit revolving around one single coordinate, every single verse numbered 22 in the text. Let's jump right in and see how this redefines the very architecture of your existence. So, according to this framework, we have to ask, why does the universe even exist? Well, it posits that the universe has exactly one purpose. Absolute Allah intends to reward the deserving with infinite, unimaginable grandeur, and on the flip side, to punish with a state of total, unimaginable compression. The text points to verse 87:13 to describe this compression, portraying a state where a soul is neither dead nor alive, literally folded together with past generations into a single, unreadable fire. And the source material is very clear here. This isn't some poetic metaphor. It is the literal architecture of accountability. Everything you experience is a highly structured test, routing your consciousness to one of those two absolute destinies.
To really grasp this, we have to fundamentally shift how we look at the source text. You can't look at the Quran as just an ancient dead manuscript stuck in the past. Instead, the framework defines it as an eternal memory tesseract. Think of it as an active, multidimensional coordinate topology. It's a living field of accountability that is continuously unfolding through you, the reader. That absolute grand reward and that unimaginable compression we just talked about, they hang right in the balance of this living system.
Now, let's look at verse 1422, which establishes what the framework calls the collective reckoning. This is the moment on the day of judgment where Shaytan or Satan stands up and confesses. He says, "I had no authority over you except that I invited you and you responded to me." The structural consequence of this is absolutely massive. You see, you aren't just answering for your own isolated actions. The analysis introduces two fields, the D10 field, which is what you did, and the I9 field, which is what you witnessed. Both of them testify. You are actually judged for the collective faith you either enabled or blocked. Every time you refuse to pull someone up, that gets counted.
And here is where the math gets incredibly fascinating. If you search for every single verse numbered 22 across the entire text, you will find exactly 76 structural nodes. Think of these 76 nodes as crossroads. At every single one, two invitations arrive simultaneously. One from Shaytan, pulling you toward entropy, and one from Allah, pulling you toward the light. The catch is that human consciousness must answer the call at every single one of these 76 intersections.
This creates a brilliant divergence in the system. Out of those 76 total nodes, exactly 42 of them map out what's called the warning path. This trajectory starts at verse 222 with the command, "Do not make equals," and runs all the way to 8822, which states, "You are not a controller over them." These 42 nodes are the intersections where the invitation to deviate is accepted.
On the complete opposite side, we have the remaining 34 nodes, and these construct the good news path. This path maps the trajectory of the one who completely surrenders to the truth, ranging from verse 922, which talks about an abiding great reward, through 8922, which describes the Lord arriving with angels rank upon rank. So your 76 invitations split perfectly into a circuit of 42 warning nodes and 34 good news nodes.
The source material actually maps this to biological growth drives, which is just brilliant. It uses tropisms. The warning path represents scutotropism. That's a plant's biological drive to grow toward shadow and darkness, to climb. In this circuit, that translates to answering Shaitan's invitation. The good news path is phototropism, the drive to rush directly back to pure light. It's a really powerful way to describe how a human soul bends and grows under pressure.
Let's break down that warning path a bit more. You don't just fall into the trap all at once. Every refusal compounds. Like I mentioned, it starts at 222 with "do not make equals." By 4322, the traveler is making excuses, saying, "We found our fathers upon a religion." The author notes they actually become the first generation of a new chain of corruption. By answering the call 42 times, they literally become the creator of Shaytan. By 5022, their cover is removed. And at 3722, the entire assembly of wrongdoers and their idols is completely gathered, compressed into one judgment, essentially training what the text calls Pharaoh's dead body.
Walking this path ultimately drops you right into the Möbius trap. The framework identifies this as that intense compression state of verse 87:13 we talked about earlier.
You're neither dead nor alive, but folded into a single unreadable fire along with every past generation you corrupted. And because of that collective reckoning, the punishment isn't just personal. It folds into the collective destiny of every single soul you prevented from finding the truth. It is a state of total, unreadable regret.
But let's look at the phototropism circuit, the good news path. This is where the traveler becomes the first Muslim, the slave who surrenders before surrender even had a name. We see milestones like 1922, where Maryam withdraws to a remote place. At 3122, you grasp the firmest handhold. By 3922, your chest is expanded to Islam upon light, and it all culminates beautifully at 5422, where the dense universe becomes perfectly clear, and the book declares it is easy for remembrance. Their faith and action collapse into one single node of infinite reward.
Now, right in the middle of this massive topological system sits verse 4222. The author calls this the topological mirror. Is the one singular node in the entire 76-verse circuit where both of these destinies meet face to face. The wrongdoer looks and sees the lush, beautiful gardens they can't enter, and the believer looks and sees the terrifying reality they managed to escape. Both answered invitations. It's the exact junction where the two paths perfectly reflect one another.
And the mathematical lock of this system? This blew my mind. Those 42 warning nodes and 34 good news nodes reduce perfectly to a ratio of 21:17. In the deep topological decoding of this text, the number 21 is 3 times 7, representing the T3 bridge to the kingdom node. Meanwhile, the number 17 represents the MNY prime desire node, the ultimate fork in the road. The math is literally spelling out the structural mechanism of human choice.
But you might be wondering, why are there 42 warning nodes and only 34 good news nodes? Why the imbalance? Well, the framework argues that the warning path is longer because it requires 42 separate repeated responses to Shaytan before the trap finally closes on you. The good news path? It's shorter because it requires only one unbreakable grip, just one. And that grip is activated at verse 1912 with the powerful command, take the book with strength.
So what does it actually mean to take the book with strength? According to the author, this grip is your ultimate survival instruction. It acts as a voltage that takes the latent, written text and converts it into a living, breathing circuit right around you. Securing this single grip at 1912 stabilizes your internal compass. It teaches the soul to manifest without fracturing, and it holds steady through all 76 intersections against the incredibly heavy pull of entropy.
Now, remember how we have exactly 76 of these verse 22 invitations? Well, that total of 76 perfectly corresponds to Surah 76 in the Quran, which is titled Al-Insan, the human. This alignment is absolutely intentional. It suggests that the human isn't just navigating a maze.
You, the human, are the threshold. You are the sum of the entire topological circuit. Human consciousness is the very space where these 76 invitations arrive. At 76:22, the choice is complete. The one who gripped tight and answered Allah's invitation hears, this is your reward, your effort appreciated. While the one who answered Shaytan 42 times hears the total compression of 87:13. 2 paths, 1 node, 76 invitations.
The source material assures us that this entire field executes flawlessly. Nothing is lost, as verse 1964 states, and your Lord is not forgetful. The analysis leaves us with this rhythmic absolute certainty. Field executes, paths diverge, light conserved, return completes. Every choice you make is perfectly remembered and integrated into the architecture of final reality. We've seen the 42 steps that pull you into the trap, and we've seen the 34 steps that rush you back into the light. We've seen how all 76 invitations converge perfectly right at the threshold of the human. And since this framework insists that the power to navigate this eternal memory tesseract rests entirely in your own hands, we have to leave you with one final question. When will you activate 1912?